we need to talk about Brisbane Roar because they are shaping up as the dark horse to keep an eye on for this upcoming A-League men's season. Hey guys, my name is Lockie, and this is a series of videos where we are going through every single A-League men's club, previewing them for the upcoming season. And Brisbane Roar is a team who have already garnered a lot of excitement in this pre-season, and that's been off the back of their fantastic run in the Australia Cup. They have made it to the final, their first ever time they've made it to a final in the Australia Cup, the first time they've qualified for a final since 2014 when they lifted the grand final trophy, the A-League trophy, championship trophy against Western Sydney Wanderers. Let's talk about this team, and first of all, we're going to have a look at their ins and outs, and it's pretty balanced when you look at in terms like the numbers of ins and numbers of outs, and it's quite a youthful approach when it comes to the ins. But Ross Aloisi is probably the biggest in that we should be talking about. He seems to be injecting this team with a newfound energy. They're playing some really, really impressive football. They're moving the ball quickly. They are pressing really well off the ball. And even a lot of the squad is still, the first team is pretty much still players who were there from last season. And the players that have been brought in have just added to that squad. The likes of Florin Berenguer. I mean, what an inclusion that is from Melbourne City. On his day, he is one of the best midfielders in the league. Joey Coletti's back at the club. Alex Parsons back as well. A hugely talented player. And some exciting young players. I mean, we've seen 15-year-old Quinn McNichol make his debut in the Australia Cup. Shay Cahill as well, son of Tim Cahill. A lot of excitement around that name. Even someone like Jonas Markowski, who is maybe a bit unknown to A-League fans, but has impressed in NPL Victoria and earns an A-League contract here at age 24. And in terms of the outs, I mean, they've gotten rid of some of the players who maybe weren't making too much of an impact last year. The likes of Stefan Skepovic, Marcel Canardi, and Robbie Cruz struggled with injury. So it's a much more youthful approach this season for Brisbane Roar. I think for me, I mean, when you look at this team, there's an opportunity here for a lot of these young players, similar to Adelaide. And as you'll see, we're going to talk about a bunch of the other clubs who are taking a youthful approach. There is an opportunity here for so many of these young guys to step up and take this opportunity and announce themselves on the A-League stage. We're going to have a look at a graphic now, and this is a sort of a spread of positions, sort of the depth chart, if you like, of this squad here at Brisbane Roar. Of course, should note that I'm sure that there's some areas of the pitch that some of these players can, rotate between. These aren't locked positions, but this gives you an idea of what the depth looks like for Brisbane Roar. As you can see, in the back line, not too deep there, not too much recruitment there at all, actually, aside from Corey Brown, who's the only, sort of new player. He was there last year, the year before, right? With Corey Brown back in the squad, and Matt Acton also joining the goalkeeping ranks. But a lot of youthful faces when you look across that midfield area and the front line as well. And the striker position is the one I want to talk about because there was a lot of concern, especially from my end, the striking position for Brisbane Roar, which is an area that they have really struggled to sort of fill. You have to go back to the likes of Adam Taggart and Jamie McLaren, who were the last time Brisbane had a decent goal scorer up there. Waddingham, Markowski, Majok, Brownlee, all these guys, quite young, quite youthful approach up top there. I'm sure you could put someone like, Armiento or Milios up top if you wanted to as well. But there is a lot of excitement and youthful energy in that front three, which is really exciting. That midfield looks really, really exciting as well. I mean, you got Berenguer, you got O'Shea in there. I mean, Gulmulka is still a defensive midfielder with a lot of potential. Plenty of options there in that midfield area as well. For me, this Brisbane Roar squad, with the way they've started so far in the Australia Cup, should be totally pushing for a spot in the top six. They haven't been there for a few years. This is the chance, I think, now for Brisbane Roar. They're also back at Suncorp Stadium. That is worth mentioning. Huge for Brisbane fans to be back at the stadium where they've had so much success in the past. For me, I think the prediction for me for Brisbane Roar is to see them to finish maybe just in that 5th and 6th spot. I think it's a big ask to say that this squad is going to push into the top 4. Look, they could go on and win the Australia Cup against Sydney FC. That would be a massive achievement. They're going to be coming up. I'm interested to see what happens when they come up against some of those more experienced sides. They managed to overcome West Sydney Wanderers, so look, they could prove me wrong and push right up into the top 4. But I think between 5th and 6th is a pretty safe prediction at the moment for Brisbane Roar. And for the rising stars to keep an eye out for me, I'm just really, really excited by Thomas Waddingham. He's already grabbed a couple of goals in the Australia Cup, and looks like he's going to be that starting striker this season for Brisbane Roar. So keep an eye out for Thomas Waddingham, young striker, potentially with a breakout season this year. How do you think Brisbane Roar are going to go this year? Where do you think they're going to finish on the ladder? Curious to hear what you guys think. We have to watch out for this team. They are a surprise package. But Brisbane Roar looking pretty good so far. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. My name's Lockie. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.